Hey everyone, we're back, and today we want to talk about some common flaws when it comes to the rower. Got Hunter here. Hunter's going to get into position, and we want to talk about three very specific positions, then talk about the order in which you want to engage. So very first thing is going to be watching the knees, and really particular the angle of the knees, and so that he kind of gets into what we call the catch position. So Hunter's going to grab the handles, and we're going to establish a catch position. So some common flaws that we typically see is a catch position is going to be too deep or too shallow. The too shallow position is going to be something where the athlete is going to pull, and the handles kind of stop about right here, usually mid-shin, above the ankle somewhere, and he's going to pull and only going to here. This is kind of one of those things where it's only just a few feet here. It's sort of like the idea of this is the amount of time that your oar is in the water. So I think that we could really lengthen that up a little bit and stretch him out, and then give him a target so that he reaches a little bit farther and maybe a little bit farther. Now, there will be an ideal catch position here, because if I stretch him out too far, we're going to start to compromise and lose position, lose a lot of efficiency and power, okay? So go ahead and freeze in this sort of too far position. In the too far position, there's going to be two common things that we're going to see pop up. Very first thing is usually the heels right here will start to really lift up because people run out of dorsiflexion. They run out of room in their ankle, and the heels have to lift up. And so now you find yourself pushing off of your toes, and we would rather you have a pretty flat foot position so that you're using the full end of that base plate. Kind of like when you're doing a squat, you're driving off midfoot. Same thing here, you're driving off midfoot on the plate. And then two is you're going to see a really extreme curvature of the spine. So we're going to expect to see a little bit of the low back, but when it comes too much and it starts all the way up into his neck and his upper back, again, that's when we want to back him down a little bit and then find a more efficient and easier position to get into. And finally, it's going to be really cumbersome on your breathing as well. So you're going to really collapse your lungs. It's going to be hard to catch your breath here. So we watch that by looking at the knees. We'll see this knee angle. Again, in too much, the knees are flexed too much. Out too far, it's not quite in the angle that we look for, okay? One last thing about the knees is they go in the catch, and then a common mistake we see is they don't fully extend. So here you see Hunter kind of still has a muted knee, and he's leaving some power on the table. He's leaving some strength on the table where he could really apply and give himself a really powerful punch by firing his quads so he can really shoot and drive that handle all the way back. Now we're going to talk about the hip. The hip is, there's going to be an ideal angle for him, just like there was an ideal angle for the knees here. It's going to be an ideal hip angle. Like, we don't really see people shorting it here because it's really strain on their hamstrings. What we see is them start to lean, but every now and again, common flaw we see is the athlete leans back too much. And they lean back too much because they think farther is better, right? Bigger is better. And actually get to the point, this is a hard position to hold, right? You're asking, give him a break. You're asking your hip flexors, your quad, and your abs to really work a little bit too hard. It's not going to be way back like I see some people doing. It'll be probably just a little bit beyond 9 degrees here. Finally, let's talk about the hands. The hands ideally are going to move from belly all the way down to home in a really straight pattern. And we know that straighter is better when it comes to this. There's a couple things that are going to get into his way, his own way, and that's going to be these fellas, the knees. In this position, as he comes in, and if his knees bend too quickly, now his hands want to return home. They want to ideally go into a straight line, but what happens is he knows his knees are in the way, so he intuitively goes around, finds the catch position, okay? On the return is the exact opposite. You start to lean back, the knees are still there, they're in the way, so the hands go up and around the knee like that. Can you do some reps where you go up around your knee, and then around your knee, and then he fires on, right? So that's sequencing, and that's the last order that we want to talk about. We want to engage in an order. So that order is going to be simple as 1, 2, and 3. And when he returns home, we want to do the opposite. We want to go 3, 2, and 1. So let's talk about the very first one, okay? So here he is in catch position. 1 is going to be getting his knees out of his way, straightening his knees, firing his quads. That's going to be 1. Once he gets here, he's cleared a path for the handle. 2 is going to be engaging his low back and giving himself that slight little back lean. And then finally After 1 and 2 are done, he can engage 3, which is going to be bicep pull, upper back, and he's going to think about elbowing his enemy back that's behind him, just giving him a good little punch and elbow back. So this is his finish position. Now to return home, he's going to do the opposite. The hands release first, the back hinges, the hip hinges, and then the knees fire on through. So you'll notice this window that you make with your arms, the knees are going to go shoot through that window, okay? So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. It's going to be quads, hip, and arms, and then 3, 2, 1, arms, hips, and quad. And that is going to give him the order that's going to be the most efficient when trying to connect the dots. Now, can you still row and get calories and be all out of order and all of whack and have a handle path or a bar path that's just wavy? Absolutely, it still works. But kind of like running, you have good running efficiency, good double under efficiency, good squatting efficiency, and same thing with the rowing. The last piece I want to talk about is your foot plate and foot pattern. You'll see this foot plate has holes 1 through 6. I would say if you're an average size foot, average size person, a 3-4 is gonna serve you just fine. If you have a small size foot and this is set too low, when you get into your catch position, you're gonna find that it's going to really challenge your Achilles tendon, forcing your heels to lift up. So even if you got all the concepts, if this is wrong, your heel's gonna lift up. So you notice that I got him in this sort of deep catcher's squat stance position, right? The heels will lift up. But if I give him some room and dry this up, and it's easy to do this when you're not strapped in, then he'll be able to relax a little bit, give a little less tension on that. Make sure you're strapped up. I wear a size 10.5, and I'm usually pretty good anywhere between a 3 and a 4. And then finally, how to get in and out. We see a lot of people struggling with this. We like to say, use your thumbs on the buckles, push the buckles down. That's gonna give just enough slack for you to do 2 things in this order. You're gonna slide your foot up the plate, and only after that, you lift a heel. If you try to lift a heel before you slide your foot up, this stirrup is really good at catching your heels and doing what they do. So those are the common flaws that we see whenever someone gets on the rower for the first time, and even working through workouts, a lot of these things can be forgotten. So hope that this video helps. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and let us know what you want to see next.